what is this thing called self-aware narcissist? Like, who is this guy? Why is he on social media? What's your background, dude? Why are you able to even talk about this? Wait a second, self-aware narcissist? That seems like an oxymoron. These many comments will come down the pipe inside of all different types of social media posts or comments or questions, mainly just saying, hey, what is this piece of self-aware narcissist? So why don't we talk about it today? Let's just pull the elephant that's in the room and say, hey, what's going on? But inside this piece of self-aware narcissist, I need you to first understand self-aware narcissist for me does not mean self-diagnosed. I didn't just pull up the DSM-5 one day and be like, I got all these traits. Yeah, I must be a narcissist. This wasn't like a fly by the seat of my pants, fly by the cuff of like, yeah, let me go ahead and identify with these traits. That way I can be on social media and be like, oh, I'm a narcissist. No, this journey being on social media was not the intended goal, plan, or idea until it became what God actually wanted me to do and open up the doors to impact hundreds and thousands of people. So self-aware narcissists. People are like, wait a second, can a narcissist be self-aware? Some of you are going to be like, no, it's impossible. They can't be self-aware. And I just want you to prove it first off. And the reason why I say it like that is because so many people get wrapped up on your opinions, your beliefs, your perspectives, and your past relationships. You're not willing to look at actual facts. If you go to the DSM-5, if you go to the diagnostic criteria and many pieces that have been even added on since then, if you go and you look at the diagnostic aspect of narcissism, there's no place there that it says a narcissist cannot be self-aware. So before some of you get on your high horse being like, it's impossible, they can't be self-aware, understand that it doesn't say that anywhere. So that's your own opinion, but it doesn't actually say that. There's no facts that support that. Now, is the likelihood of a narcissist to be self-aware? I would say, in my opinion, 50-50. You're like, wait a second, that still seems very, very high. How is that possible? Because frankly, there's a lot of narcissists that are aware of their actions, are aware of the abuse that's happening. They just don't care. That's the big piece. Because it's not that they're not aware because they haven't been told that they're hurting or that they're abusing or that they're being toxic or they're lying or they're manipulating. It's that it's a means to an end and they're getting what they want, so why change? Some narcissists are self-aware and they're happy with that. They're excited about that. And that's like the best thing ever because they're like, yeah, I'm a narcissistic asshole and I get what I want. So why would I want to change anything? Okay. I think there's a lot more narcissists that are self-aware than what people want to admit and what people want to see. Because if they admit that there's more narcissists that are self-aware, they also then have to admit that there's a human out there that is either purposely, intentionally, or subconsciously abusing another person, and they don't know how to rectify that in their mind. Simply because that's not who they are, so they can't figure it out. The hard part is that's taking your mindset, your logic, and placing it on another human being and thinking like, well, because I would never hurt and abuse, why would he hurt and abuse? He must not know what he's doing. It's not true. The narcissist knows what he's doing. He knows that his decisions are going to produce a result. The thing is, he's not looking at the result because he doesn't care about the result unless it impacts him. For instance, if it's going to impact him in a negative way, he's going to run away from that result. If telling you the truth and having you leave him because you found out that he's been cheating on you for the past 5 years, if that's going to produce a negative result, you leaving, a negative result, his image, a negative result impacting his money, why is he going to tell the truth? He's aware of what this is going to do, which is why he lies about it. See what I mean? He's aware that it doesn't fit into the norm, into society, that it doesn't fit into the committed relationship that you both agreed on. So therefore, he doesn't tell you. He's aware that what's going to happen is going to destroy the relationship. And he doesn't want to destroy the relationship, not because he loves you, not because he cares about you, not because he sees your intrinsic worth or good, but because of his image. How it will affect his image negatively. His image, his money, his perception, what he wants, his desires, all those things. That's the main focus. So there's a lot more narcissists out there that are self-aware. Okay. They just simply do not care. The ones that do care to a point of like, I'm self-aware, oftentimes are unwilling to do what's required to change it. To actually grow and develop and modify, to transform from the inside out, because it requires a heavy dose of honesty. Then after that, a heavy dose of honesty, and so on and so forth. Because it's very difficult to confront the past. It's very difficult to confront the demons inside. It's very difficult to deal with shame and guilt work through all this stuff that a narcissist doesn't want to work through because of where it puts them mentally and emotionally in a pit of shame that they don't want to deal with, so they move forward and try to move past it as quick as possible. All right, so I think I mentioned earlier, self-aware doesn't mean self-diagnosed. I didn't just make this up, okay? Did I go to therapy because I got diagnosed? No, I went to therapy because I started identifying and seeing different things in my life that wasn't working. Then through therapy, was able to actually get a diagnosis. At that time, going first into therapy, like the therapist was also kind of like, I'm not really into just labeling you just to label you because I don't want to keep you stuck in a box. And I was like, okay, I can deal with that. But I also, if this is who I am, I want to be able to know the labels so I know what box I'm attacking. I know what I actually need to work on. And so understanding and having the label of NPD brought a place of where I could actually start attacking each piece of it. I could start focusing on what do I need to change and grow and develop here, on being entitled, on being manipulative, of thinking and dreaming this way. Well, all of these different things, what can I actually work on? Gave me a target. And so the diagnosis was a piece where it didn't come at a place where I was like, oh gosh, now I'm screwed and I'm the worst person ever. It came at a place that was actually more liberating because of my own journey of awareness. My journey of awareness of being a liar, of being a cheater, of being an abuser, my journey of awareness of realizing that my personality was different than other people, that I connected different with other people, a personality of understanding, hey, I process shame completely different. Like shame is a big piece in my life. This is hurting me and bringing me down. Dealing with emotions. Emotions are icky. I don't want to deal with them. There's bad emotions. There's good emotions when there's just emotions. But my mind was working through all these different pieces. So it was a long journey of awareness that slowly came about. So some people feel like, when was the light bulb moment? And most people that are looking for the light bulb moment are only looking to re-trigger it in their own narcissistic person, X, whatever it might be. I didn't have a light bulb moment. Okay? The easiest way I can describe it is I had a dimmer switch slowly turn on. Slowly getting illuminated in different aspects of my life, realizing different pieces that didn't work, realize different pieces that like were just falling apart. And then realizing the accountability piece that all of it came down to me. This is who I am. This is what I've done. This is what I'm dealing with. And all of these struggles led me to a place of seeing, okay, if I don't actually stop lying, nothing's going to change. I'm not going to get any better. I'm not going to focus anymore. I'm going to lose everything that I have in my life because I keep showing up as a liar. I'm not willing to take accountability, and I step into victim mode. I would step into victim mode all the time. My wife doesn't understand me. My wife doesn't get me. Like she isn't there for me emotionally. Let me go find someone else. Using this victimhood to justify my decisions, thinking, woe is me. All this was me trying to put up excuses that I wasn't showing up as a man in the relationship. I was being a coward that was unwilling to address my feelings and needs and desires. I was a coward that wasn't willing to actually be honest and actually deal with the hard conversation that I need to have, saying, hey, this is the shit that I've done. So as a result, I just continued and perpetuated the same cycle over and over and over with another person, focusing on everybody else than me being honest. Once honesty started coming into the picture, the self-awareness started growing, the change started happening, and the transformation took place. This is the part where you need to understand. When you're at the point where you're trying to figure out, do I stay, do I go? Should I let him know that he's a narcissist? The majority of times you can't let a person know that they're a narcissist without first dealing with the problem that he's a liar. Baseline premise. One of the ways to illustrate this is you've got a doctor with a cancer patient. The problem is they don't know that they have cancer yet. So the doctor's thinking, I'm going to go in and I'm going to tell them that they have cancer. But the doctor knows that earlier that week, this person came in with an ingrown toenail. And no matter what he said, he couldn't convince this other person that they had an ingrown toenail. They wouldn't accept it. They're like, no, I don't. This never happened to me. It's never going to happen. It's ridiculous. It's painful, but it's not there. Like, how ridiculous is that? What I'm trying to make sure you understand is you can't convince a narcissist that he's a narcissist of like, hey, welcome to this amazing diagnosis that has no cure and everybody hates. It sounds like a good plan. Why don't you be that? He's not going to run to that and be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this gift. This is amazing. Let me take this home and be wonderful. No, he's not going to go for that. But he's also not going to go for that if he's not willing to be honest first. So like, how's the doctor going to convince the patient that they have cancer if they won't even admit that they have an ingrown toenail? Kind of a ridiculous example, but it's there to be able to prove a point. If you don't start small, you're never going to get to the big stuff. If you don't start in a place where he's not willing to be honest, He's never going to get to the place that he's willing to accept that he's a narcissist or that he's struggling with narcissism. So this whole piece of being self-aware narcissist, you're like, okay, well, what does that do for you now? Like, where are you at now? What about, like, there's so many questions I could answer. Like, what about supply? Like, let's talk about supply for a moment. No, supply can be negative or positive. Like, you get supply from different things that you do on a day-to-day basis. There would be an aspect of getting supply from seeing your kids win, seeing your kids have success, like seeing positive things that are happening in your life. There's different pieces of supply. We're not using that supply word in this context as being like a toxic, because you're not feeding off of that, draining the kids and being like, haha, I'm living vicariously through. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about like, hey, like there's a good moment. There's something that happened that's like a positive thing. It's a warm feeling. It's an exciting moment. Okay, so I can go off of supply being like, hey, there was a lot of supply in my life. There was negative, toxic people. There was negative things that I did. There was all the shit that happened inside of my affairs, my cheating. I used all those people physically, mentally, and emotionally for supply, right? Now when people see it on social media, they're like, you're just on here for supply. And I'm like, honestly, compared to the affairs and compared to the relationships, like online social media is really shitty supply. Like, it's not a piece of like, oh my gosh, like my ego is so pumped up by what you just said or what you didn't say. So instead, what my goal is helping see people transform. Like, that's the ultimate piece of supply as far as helping people transform and seeing growth and development. It's amazing. It's encouraging to be able to see, because part of my journey has been, how have I grown and developed and transformed myself? Now, how do I help other people do that? How do I help create a container so they can win every single day? If that's you and you want to do that, check out a video that I have for you at rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Would love to have you just see that and walk through that video and see if it resonates with you today.